Sammy St. Jean, and I am joined by Ryan Held, fresh from Paris. First of all, congratulations to you on your accomplishments. Not your first one, but I want to start with, you've won 2 golds now. Can you just try to summarize what it's like to win an Olympic gold?
Yeah, it's an amazing feeling. In swimming, in basketball, there's the corner 3 at the buzzer beater. Football has the Hail Mary. In swimming, it's winning Olympic gold. So to win 1, amazing feat. To win 2 is truly remarkable. Yeah,
absolutely. And then when it comes to representing the United States, you're able to do so for both of your gold medals, 2 different Olympics. What does it feel like to represent and kind of wear that red, white, and blue?
Well, it's a hard process to get there. There's about 300,000 swimmers registered with USA Swimming, so to be one of the top 1,000 just to make trials, and then to be the top 6 of those 1,000 to represent the United States or just be the top 2 make the Olympic team, that's an incredible feat in itself. But to wear the United States flag on your cap with your name on it, that's a great honor, and it's really cool to think about when you're representing your hometown, Springfield, Illinois, every American. It's an awesome place, an awesome feeling especially when you're on the podium and you kind of take a little trip down memory lane of where you come from, who you're representing, and it just makes you proud.
This is something you mentioned a little bit earlier to me before we started this conversation, but both of those medals had different motivations for you. Can you just kind of break down what pushed you towards both that 2016 and 2024 medal?
Yeah, so the Rio medal is I was, in high school, just going into my junior year of college, I was kind of on a roll. I was unstoppable. I was dropping time every year. I was, swimming out of my mind. I was a dark horse. No one knew who I was. So to make the Rio team, win an Olympic gold medal with the big names, Nathan Adrian, Michael Phelps, and Caleb Dressel, and kind of become a little like an unofficial image of the Rio Olympic Games is that picture of Michael hugging me after I'm crying on the podium. That was super cool to be, that Rio medal to me was like swimming, hard work, paying off. And the Paris medal is the mental, emotional side of the sport. So in 2020, I was going to try and make the Olympic team again, and if I did and get a 2nd gold medal, I was going to retire and kind of move on and move on from the sport of swimming. But I didn't make the team in 2021. So and it was kind of a hard thing because for so long, like at Rio, swimming brought me so much joy and passion and everything, and it was what I loved. And then all of a sudden, it caused me so much pain and anger and like kind of confusion, didn't know what to do. And moving on from 2021, just kind of, okay, I'll try one more meet. And that meet went really well. And okay, maybe I'll swim in the summer of 2022. And that meet went really well. So then like, okay, maybe, like swimming and I's relationship is starting to get a little mend back together. And going into 2024 Olympics trials, was kind of a very stressful thing because there was a lot of, reoccurrences of 2021 and, a lot of negative thoughts of, what if I don't make this? What if I don't do this, do that? And to put yourself in the arena emotionally, mentally vulnerable to the crowds outside looking in, no one knows your own story, and to succeed, that's what I'm really proud about for Paris in 2024. It's not so much the swimming side of the sport, but for me, the Paris is the mental and emotional side of conquering those fears, those emotions.
Now, this might be different because of those different motivations, but in 2016, 2024, 2 different gold medals. How do you celebrate a gold medal? What is that feeling like, and then kind of the aftermath of being able to celebrate what you were setting out to do?
So 2016, I was a junior in college. I don't know how appropriate this is, but I just became a junior in college. And I just turned 21 in trials. So that celebration was a few nights at the bars in Raleigh. But here in 2024, I mean, I'm 8 years older. I think I'm a little bit more mature and a little bit calmer now. I think to me, celebrating 2024, this medal is hanging out with my family, my wife, and spending kind of more quality time with my family and friends. In 2016, I was trying to tell everyone and show everyone that I just won because I was a younger and probably more of a fiery Ryan than I am now.
No, absolutely. And now you've gotten to compete with and against a ton of incredible athletes, both at the Olympics and in the trials. Aside from yourself and aside from Michael Phelps, 'cause that might be the easiest answer, is there a swimmer that has stood out as being maybe the most impressive, even if it's someone that maybe you don't maybe think gets the recognition they deserve?
Most impressive swimmer I swam with? That's a great question. Do I have time to think?
Yeah, you can take your
Okay.
time. Yeah. And it could be men or women, just someone that you've gotten to work with or see in the pool that really caught your eye. And it could be someone that maybe is a little underrated, a little underappreciated.
Probably. The first person that comes to mind, I'll give like two answers. First person that comes to mind is a University of Texas swimmer named Will Lacone, who is an incredible guy, great guy. You know, he's like the kind of guy that would wake up if you call him at 3 a.m., all right, I'll hop in my car and come pick you up. But he is just super nice, super friendly, and he just swam in incredibly tough events, the 100 breaststroke and 200 breaststroke, and he got third 3 or 4 times at trials, just like always right there. But he is just a great guy, perseverance and everything. And then another person who I swam with is, honestly, I feel like, Katie Ledecky is incredible. She is just who she is. She's amazing. I've just never hear her complain. She gets pulled in a lot of different directions with media, and people try to ask her questions and try and like trip her up, try to talk about her rivalry with Australia. But she handles questions and media so well. She treats everything very elegantly, and she was just selected the closing ceremony's flag bearer, and I think that's a great choice. She's super well spoken, very kind, she was our team captain, and just tries to be inclusive, and at the end of the day is an incredible swimmer. Owning the top 20 times and like the 800 and the mile is unbelievable. So I would say, Will Lacone, Katie Ledecky, both two people who are just great people who I'm just blessed to have been cross paths with in the sport of swimming.
Perfect. So we have 2 more questions, kind of career Olympics based.
Okay.
First off, this relating a little bit to the last one, living in the Olympic villages for a little while, you get to experience not only a lot of cool cultures and people, but you get to live alongside a bunch of incredible Olympians. Is there anyone that you've had any cool moments or experiences with that would be fun to share?
What's crazy is that you don't realize how small the gymnasts are, because when they're on TV with other gymnasts, there's no context, there's no scale. But when you see them against other swimmers, like one swimmer, his name's Kieran Smith, who's 6'6", he was standing next to Simone Biles, and that was total culture shock. Glass was shattered. Wow, there is a height difference. She probably only came up to his hips, but when you're on TV, you don't see the extremes because there's no scale, there's no middle ground. So they lived in our building, the Team USA building. That was really cool. What other athletes? Trying to think of another sport. I met some BMXers. Those are Team USA people. They were really cool. What's just cool about the village, especially the dining hall, is you just see the different types of bodies that produce the best athletes. So, there's this Georgian Olympic weightlifter named Lasha, who's like 330 pounds, and he is huge, but he is so strong. And then there's Simone Biles, who's like 5'0", but she is like dominant in gymnastics. And then there's, 7'3" Argentinian volleyball players who are just towering over people. And it's so cool just to see the different bodies of what makes each athlete the very best.
Absolutely. And now the last question I'll have career-related wise is just what's next for you? What's your next step career-wise?
I think I'm going to kind of transition from having a swimming job to more of a dry job, not waking up at 5 a.m. and jumping into a cold pool every morning. So I'm going to transition from, swim. I'm going to be in LA 2028, whether that's volunteering or spectator, because I'm watching and hearing the crowd go crazy for French swimmers. I've got to be a part of that for LA 2028. I'm so excited. But in terms of swimming, I'm going to slowly transition from the pool to start reaching out, connecting, making networking, making connections, to hopefully get a job in, I got my master's in Geographic Information Systems, stands for GIS, so hopefully get a job somewhere in that field.
Now transitioning kind of locally, you obviously represent the United States, and you touched on this a little bit in your other answer, but you represent Illinois, you represent Central Illinois, and you represent Springfield. Can you speak to what that means to you to be able to represent those kind of three, maybe smaller locations than just the United States as a whole?
Yeah, it's cool because I feel like I bring attention to, people who wouldn't normally think they're being, I guess, like represented on the big stage, because it always seems like there's always a really good athlete from somewhere else, or the big cities always produce a lot of athletes. So to be kind of from a smaller, intimate, more people know each other kind of community like Springfield is really cool, and just also it kind of proves that anyone can come from anywhere. You don't need the big city facilities, the sports science, the crazy, the crazy high profile coaches. You just, as long as you've got, goals, determination, drive, work ethic, you can be successful anywhere. Doesn't matter the place. And so I think it's really cool to come from Springfield, where I grew up in a 4-lane pool. That is abysmal to other Olympians who are training in 50-meter pools, but with just small incremental goals, achieving those one at a time, those accumulate and landed in pretty extraordinary territory.
Now, you visited a Springfield YMCA today. I know it's not the first time you've come back to visit a Springfield YMCA. Can you talk about that experience of just being able to come back and see kids that look up to you and maybe that inspire that next generation of swimmer?
Yeah, it was cool. Some people showed me some pictures from 2016 when I was back, and I just looked totally different. It looked so young. I know what I was saying back then, but I don't think I was very wise, and I had no idea what I was even really saying. But now coming back, I feel like I've learned so much more through life and everything. And because there was experiences in college and NC State that, people always say you learn so much more outside of the pool than inside the pool. And there were those things. But I feel like I couldn't quite learn from them until after I graduated from college. And now, outside looking in, it made so much sense. And so to come back to the Y, and I feel like actually give some kind of parting wisdom, felt really cool. And just showing that, it wasn't, not a fluke, but 2016 was there, but I stayed dominant for, the 8 years in between 2016 and 2024. And proving that, again, kind of what I said earlier, anyone can come from anywhere, just with goals and hard work and dedication.
Now, when it comes to your experience at kind of swimming in Springfield, maybe in those 4-lane pools or at the YMCA or whatever it may have been, can you talk about starting there and growing into an Olympian, what that process was like for you?
Yeah, I would say at a fairly young age, I knew I always wanted to be an Olympian, and training and racing to be that was always the goal. But I would say, I would say around like 7th grade, when I broke my leg playing indoor soccer, that's when I quit all the other sports. I just became a swimmer full time. And that's really when I accelerated from a decent Central Illinois area swimmer to a higher caliber level swimmer for like the state of Illinois and maybe Indiana, Iowa, Wisconsin, Missouri. And that's really kind of when the dream went from kind of like, you know, the kid hitting the corner three, kind of the childhood fantasy to, okay, actually, you know, if I do this right and I, you know, give it my 100%, I think I can really do this. And then when I got into college, dropped even more time, got better, got stronger. Going into Olympic trials, I was 14th seed or something. That's really when, again, even another step up of, okay, this next year, I'm going to, you know, eat right, sleep better, do everything. I'm going to be not just an athlete in the pool. I'm going to be an athlete the other 20 hours of the day and be the absolute very best I can be. And I think that's what got me to be on the 2016 Olympics.
Now, is there a day, an event, or even just a stretch of events where you recall as like, that was when I realized that I could do this?
Probably Nationals in 2015 in San Antonio. I broke 50 seconds for the first time in the 100-meter free in prelims, because before that my seed time was like 52 or something. So I was like 49.98. You know, like, awesome. I made the B final. This was so cool. As a freshman, I made the B final of the national swim meet. This is really cool. And then in that final swim, I just honestly, I kind of swam fearless, just went for it, and I was dropped almost a whole another second. And I was 49.1, and that's what and I won the B final. And so that's when that moment of, whoa, okay, this is right. If I do everything right, I can be on that top 6 spot for the Olympic trials next year.
Perfect. And now just 2 more questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to being a good swimmer, kind of that local, maybe stand out to a nationally recognized swimmer, someone who can accomplish gold, what separates those swimmers? What separates the good from the great?
I think drive, like determination, drive is a big part. I mean, man, there's so many characteristics. Being coachable, having the humility to, you know, not know everything, being open to coaching, open to criticism. So so Nick Saban has a quote that was like, good players don't want coaching. Like, great players like are open to coaching, and then elite players seek out coaching. So that quote always stuck with me of, you know, if you want to be better, you know, take the extra time, ask the questions. Hey, coach, what do you think about this turn? What do you think about that? That's having the drive to be better. And then the humility is to kind of accept, like, okay, I don't have the best technique. I don't have this. I actually need to work on this. And another thing too is at NC State we always talked about, you're an athlete for 4 hours of the pool, 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours at night. But yes, you're an athlete, but you're also an athlete for the other 20 hours of a day. So are you getting enough sleep? Are you eating the right things? Are you, making like smart decisions outside of the pool? And that's the getting 1% better every day. Those 20 hours are the margin, not the 4 hours in the pool. Because every great swimmer is going to work hard in the pool. You go from ordinary to extraordinary outside of the pool and all these extracurricular things.
Absolutely. Now, the last question for you will be maybe something a little bit related to what you just said, maybe some advice that you gave to the kids earlier. But if you were to give advice to aspiring swimmers in the Central Illinois area, in Springfield, what kind of things would you tell them?
I would tell them set goals, because that's a tangible, kind of end point, and set small incremental goals. So like, for example, in swimming, it could be make districts, podium at state, and then try and get a nationals cut, or doing just these small incremental goals build up over time. They accumulate, they get bigger and bigger, and there's tons of sports psychology research that kind of suggests when you hit these goals, you get this sense of accomplishment, you get an extra kick of motivation, of drive, and so when you hit these goals, you get more and more driven to hit the next goal, more enthusiasm, and it just kind of builds up, accumulates, and before you know it, your goals are, to make Olympic trials, to finals, to do this, and eventually you end up on the Olympic swim team.
Thanks for watching. Stick around by subscribing today and don't miss a single video.